Welcome to From Small Towns to Global Stages, a think tank media podcast. Hosted by Dru Daniels, this show explores the journey from local beginnings to global opportunities in the world of events, blending real stories, industry insight, and the human side of building a career. Start small, show up big, here we go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of From Small Towns to Global Stages. My name is Dru, and I will be your host, and I'm super excited to kick this off. But before we get into all the cool things that this podcast is going to entail, I want to give you a little bit of background on me. So I am a junior at High Point University, and I'm studying event management with aspirations to plan international events in the near future. I absolutely love to travel so much, and I haven't done very much of it yet, but my parents were able to take me to France at the end of my senior year, and I got to go to Paris, which was my dream city. And it really did feel like a fever dream. It was absolutely amazing. We visited the Louvre, we got to go to the Eiffel Tower. And when I tell you I stood in front of the Eiffel Tower and I got to watch it sparkle, and it was nighttime and it was so surreal. Like, it really did feel like a fever dream. It was absolutely amazing. And I've never really been able to recreate that feeling ever since. So that was a dream come true. And then I also was able this past May to go to Germany, Austria, and Slovakia on a study abroad trip through High Point. And with that, we took a class while we were there, and we studied about meeting and conferences in the international space. And we got to visit all of these different industry professionals, including the Vienna Convention Center. And then we also got to go to IMEX. That's where we ended. Ended in IMEX Frankfurt. So being in the Frankfurt Convention Center was crazy, especially for an event student like me. We got to go through it, and it was absolutely ginormous. Like, oh my goodness, it was huge. And so being able to do that and making connections and just seeing everything come to life in the corporate space, especially internationally, and all the different people that were there. The brand USA was huge with all their different branches, like Visit Vegas, Visit LA, and then Chicago, Detroit, like all of these huge ones. And then we also had different countries like Dubai and Canada. And then there was even Montreal and just all of these things. And it was so surreal. Like, oh my gosh, so many of the things when you go abroad are just feel surreal, especially as I'm 20 years old and I went abroad without my parents for 3 weeks, basically having free time to go out and experience the culture and the food and all of the architecture and all of that. Just didn't, like, I was like, I'm old enough for this. Like, is this okay? That's kind of how it felt. And like, we had professors there, and there were 20 of us other students that were there, and like, I wasn't all alone, but it was just like, whoa, I'm old enough for that. So that was such an amazing experience. And I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about the industry, all of those things. So it was so cool. And I can't wait to travel more. I'm so excited. I don't have anything on the books yet, but I might be going to Colombia during spring break with a couple friends. And so that'll be super amazing. And I can't wait to experience that culture, which is going to be a lot different than going to Europe. So I'm excited for that. And that's on the books. But yeah, so that's a big part of my life. I really want to travel, and I want to see the world, and I want to be able to experience different cultures and be in a bunch of different situations and meet a bunch of people and just have a really cool, eclectic life. Like, I think that would be so amazing. Another big part of my life is my family. So my family is huge, and they're actually kind of what pushed me into going into the world of events. So both my parents have super large families, and I have been blessed to have good relationships with both sides. Like, it's been amazing. And I always remember any time we would get together, whether that's Christmas or Thanksgiving, it always felt like an event. Like, my dad's immediate family has about 23 people in it. So every time we would get together for every holiday, because all 23 of us would be invited, it felt like an event, right? And I vividly remember, since I was young, going to the kitchen and helping my grandma and helping her prepare the food, but then also helping her set the place settings and the table, and then get the beverages and all of those. And as I got older, my role increased, right? I got promoted. And starting out, I would always put little name places, and I always made sure that everybody's name was written and everybody was sitting by their spouse, and the cousins were all at the same table, and grandma and grandpa were at the head of the table. and always next to each other and all of that. And then I eventually got promoted to drink person. So I got to walk around with my little notepad and my pen, and I would walk around and ask all my family members what they wanted. And then I'd go back to the kitchen and I'd pour their drink, and then I'd set it at their table at their respective seats because we can't mix that up, obviously. And then eventually, when I got older and my cousins started to take on that role, I remember, and this happens still now, every time we go for any holiday, we go to my grandma's house, and she always has this beautiful place setting. Like, it's gorgeous with beautiful tablecloth and all of these um decorations that go with the holiday. So for Thanksgiving, she has these little pilgrim salt and pepper shakers, and she'd always put those out. And then she'd bring out her nice china and her nice silverware. And then I remember when we walk in and the table is just a smorgasbord of food. Like, it's crazy how much food she prepares, and there's always leftovers to take home, which is like my favorite part. But we would walk in, and it's just it's hard to describe in the sense of, like, it's just a feeling, if that makes sense. And everybody's happy, and we're present in the moment. We're excited to be there, and we're excited to be talking to each other and spending that time together. And that's what I want to create. And that's how my family has kind of molded me and shaped me into wanting to do events. I want to be able to create that feeling for people. And I want to combine that with travel and create that on an international scale. And creating that feeling, I think everybody should experience it. And I think it's just a memory and a moment that can never really be created again unless you're in a similar situation, because it's being present in the moment with those people, talking about whatever it is you're discussing. And it's never really created unless you're in a situation like that again. And that that's just amazing. And that's what I want to do with my life. And I want to, obviously, like I said, I want to incorporate that with travel, because I think I want to do that for everyone, basically. I want everyone to be able to experience that and see new places and all of these and experience all these cool opportunities and situations. I think that would be amazing. So that's kind of how this podcast is kind of shaped. So it's going to talk about how you create those events on the logistical side, but it's also going to talk about how you got there, because the international events is just simply, how do you become an international event planner? Like, I'm still figuring that out. I don't know. And so that's why it's called From Small Towns to Global Stages. I grew up in a very small town called New Concord, Ohio. So middle of nowhere, Ohio. It was a village. It is a village. There's not very many people there. And how do I go from a small town like that in the Midwest to a international event planner on an international scale? And that's where I want to talk to those professionals who have become that. Whether they came from a small town or they came from a big city, everyone comes from a bubble, whether that's your family bubble or your friend bubble or just a small area where your life started. And then you become this super successful person. Like, even when you think about celebrities, they come from somewhere, right? Everybody starts somewhere, and then they grow into these international sensations. And I don't want to be an international sensation, but I want to be able to grow and create those moments like I described for people to experience and to get to live. And how do I get there, basically? So I want to learn about that from other people who have already accomplished that, because I think that's important, because they've already made the mistakes or are continually making the mistakes, which have only made them better, because mistakes are steps to grow or places to grow from. And how did they get there? How did they become awesome? Basically, that's what I want to discuss. And I also want this podcast to be a place to discuss the sacrifices that they had to make, right? So, as someone family is super important to me. And like I said, I'm now down at High Point, which is located in North Carolina. So it's about 6 hours from my home. And because of that, I've had to make sacrifices from my family to be able to grow my career and create the life that I want to create. And through that, I was actually just talking to my mom a couple of days ago, and we were talking, and she was talking about how my brother had golf and my sister went, and like it was a whole family outing. And then After that, they went to an Ohio State football game. And like she sent me the pictures and I was like, that looks amazing. But I wasn't able to experience that with them. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it takes a minute, but I'm okay with that because I'm sacrificing that to become who I want to be, right? And how do event planners and people in general, how have they dealt with that? Especially talking through the hospitality industry. Hospitality is a very demanding job, as we know, and it's very exhausting and it's physically tolling, but it's also mentally tolling, especially when you're away from your people for hours on end or days on end if you're planning an event and it's out of town or something like that. So, how do you deal with that emotional pull and that emotional turmoil that you experience when you're far away from your people for extended periods of time? So, I want to talk about that because I think that's important. And how do you continue? Because at least for me, as someone who is very type A and doesn't want to talk about my feelings and things like that when it comes to how do I combat it, because it's just something I deal with and I learned how to live through it and continue on. I think it's important that we talk about it because it's a common experience because you're being pulled from different things and you're creating these moments and you need to be super pleasant and you need to have customer service and people aren't supposed to know what's going on because it's still their first time like at your hotel or at your event, and that's important for them to be able to experience that like anybody else, if you were having a good day or not, if you as the person hosting them is having a good day or not. So, and then they don't always thank you. Like hospitality tends to be a thankless industry, so how do you deal with all of that and then still miss your people, but not let anybody know you miss your people, and just continuing through that and fighting through that. And then also burnout. Burnout's real. It's real in any industry, but especially in events because it's so exhausting. But a lot of us, at least in my opinion, love what we do and we're so excited to do it. Like I love events so much and I love creating that moment for people and experiencing that with them and watching their faces light up. Oh my gosh, watching their faces light up and watching them create those memories and seeing those sparks as they experience your event. That's why I do it. That's why I want to do it. And it's like, how do you keep that? How do you remember that's exactly why you got into the industry, even though your hours or days or however far an ocean potentially away from your family and your people? So that's what I want this podcast to be. I want it to be a space but for us to talk about the mental struggles, but also to talk about how people have gotten to be as successful as they are in the industry, specifically focused on international events, because that's what I want to do. And I know the international event community is pretty small. So how to continue to talk about it and understand it and connect everyone through that. And I just think that we should talk about it. I mean, events are cool, guys. They're so awesome. Like, and to talk about that and experience that and come together as a community to discuss all of that, I think that would be so good to experience and so good to understand. And yeah, I definitely think that would be so awesome. But so like I said, my family has definitely shaped me into being who I am. And where I grew up in the small town that kind of came with the script of what I was supposed to do, and then realizing that isn't really what I want to do and it doesn't really fulfill my ambitions. And I want the fancy corporate girly job that has all the cool things and I get to experience the world. The world has so many cool things to offer. Oh my goodness. I want to create those moments for the people for people to experience and understand, and I want to do it on an international scale. And I definitely think that we should talk about it and we should understand how we get to where we are and how people have gotten to where they are and how they deal with everything and all the sacrifices that they've had to deal with to get to there. And I think that's important to discuss. And I definitely think you all should follow, and my email that will appear on the screen, and I think you should reach out, and I would love to have anyone on the podcast just to discuss this, whether you're in international events or not. You're an event planner, you understand the struggles, even if it's you plan domestically, but you understand the hours away from your family and how difficult that is. So I think that's important to discuss no matter who you are, whether it's a focus on international events or not. You understand the struggle of it all. So I think it's important for us to discuss that. And I would love to see people on this and like let's have a conversation. Let's understand each other. Let's learn how to be successful together. So feel free to connect with me through my email, but also through Hospitality Nexus, which I'll have my profile on there so you guys can connect through that. And I look forward to talking to you all. And I hope that this podcast provides a space for us to discuss things, but then also for people to feel heard and seen as we talk about everything. So I'm excited. I'm super excited for this. And I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, amazing rest of your week, everything that entails. And I look forward to meeting you all.
Thanks for spending time with us on From Small Towns to Global Stages, part of Think Tank Media and Hospitality Nexus, a global, human-first platform connecting the hospitality ecosystem in one place, like a career fair that never closes. Watch all episodes at hospitalitynexus.org. Wherever you're starting from, keep going and stay beautiful.